my Kenvians, and welcome to a new episode of Discovering DuckTales, the 2017 edition. Or, well, the reboot edition. Yeah. Anyway, today we're going to be jumping out of order, kind of, or maintaining the actual order of how this show was supposed to be released. It's I don't know, it's confusing and weird. But today I'm going to be watching The Impossible Summit of Mount Neverrest. I wrote it down as Everest. It's Mount Neverrest. Gotta get that right. And, yeah, it's episode 9. I mean, according to Amazon and all the, like, how it officially released, chronologically speaking. But this is supposed to be the 3rd episode of the 1st season. And apparently there's 1 or 2 other spots where things are a little bit weird, order-wise, but all the same, I just want to say thank you to Generoth for providing the list of all the episodes and the comment he left on the previous one. So, yeah, I'm ready to get into this. Let's do it. So, let's begin The Impossible Summit of Mount Neverrest in 3, 2, 1, go.
Christmas in a billionaire's mansion waiting for Santa Claus.
That man is not allowed in my home.
He knows what he did.
We're going to outdo that quitter malady by making it to the top.
You realize there's a difference between quitting and dying, right?
To me, yeah.
Fair enough.
But it'll be worth it when we find the treasure of Mount Neverrest.
There is no treasure of Mount Neverest.
Nope, Louis out!
Last thing we need on this trip is a bunch of Neverest ninnies.
I thought you said that was a myth.
Just because it's a myth doesn't mean it's not true.
Well, actually...
Don't you worry. So you're all Uncle Scrooge now.
I'm gonna call this Murder Ridge.
Yeah.
After Death Peak, but before the chasm of infinite despair. I'll call that Bunny Rock.
Oh, God.
We must have gained some serious altitude with that climb. We should be closer than ever. Wait, is that Bunny Rock?
What?
This can't be right. Maybe we find a slightly less deadly cave. The entrance was right here. We must have gotten turned around. It's gotta be here somewhere.
Okay. The mountain's cursed.
I think I hear the wind coming from this way.
Webby, wait!
Good initiative, Webigail.
Thanks, Mr. McDuck.
Oh, God.
Didn't you weren't you?
I found an opening.
Lead the way.
Now you're thinking with portals?
Soak in the wetness of my sweat.
Ew! So much wetness! Ew!
You're a duck. It literally rolls off your back. This is going to end poorly. Kids. Kids. Kids.
He's an idiot. He's not dying of ice fever. Ice fever isn't real.
Uh-oh.
I'm maybe just sort of not real.
He is an idiot. Nice. Nice. Okay. So, yeah. Yeah. I love this show so much. I really, really do. Okay, so let's get something out of the way real quick. All right? So, the only real negative I have about this entire episode, and I hate this because I love this character in my childhood on the original series. Launchpad is just so dumb. Like, infinitely stupid. he serves no purpose to the episode. I mean, yes, we did get the funny moment with Louie scamming the scammer. And that worked out really well. And it worked nicely. But my God! just Launchpad lumbering about. It's like they're... I mean, it's... You know, the episodes are what? Like 22, 23 minutes long? And how much of that was dedicated to just Launchpad just stumbling around thinking he had ice fever or whatever they called it? I seem more angry about it than I really am. It's just, I am upset by the fact that they've made this character who, yes, he's dumb in the original series, but he's dumb but lovable in that he always comes through. Whereas, like, the last two times that Launchpad's really been part of it, it's like Launchpad got covered in snakes and was just incoherent and unable to do anything. And then this episode is like, you know, he's like geared up with all the technically useless stuff that he got from that salesman, but then it's just he disappears and just wanders, and we have, like, I would say probably at least 3 or 4 minutes of the episode dedicated to him just stumbling around and it just not making any sense. I don't know. I really do hope that the character Launchpad is, that he gets some development, that he's not just a joke character. Because, again, it's like he was one of the central characters for the show DuckTales. And it would kill me to think that he's been divulged down to nothing but, or reduced down to nothing but just a side joke character that flies them places. I don't know. I don't know. It does bother me. So yeah, I guess maybe I am as upset about that as I thought I was. So yeah, that is my one true annoyance with this episode. And I just wanted to get that out of the way so we can focus on the good. So, starting with, in the introduction of the episode, and God, I hope this gets expanded on. I'm sure it's just a side joke that it's like, it has no actual meaning to anything. But it's... Santa is not allowed in Scrooge's house. He knows what he did. What did Santa do? What did Santa do? I want to know. Why is Santa not allowed in your house, Scrooge? What did Santa do? And I did find it a little bit interesting that, you know, it jumped forward to this being around Christmas. And maybe that's why the episode is, I guess, kind of out of order. Or, I don't know if it was intentional or not, to be completely honest. But, again, I love the fact that Santa is not allowed in Scrooge's house. And I want to know more about that situation. I hope so badly that somewhere in the 2 seasons that are currently out that there is some sort of explanation or an exploration of the North Pole and we find out why Scrooge does not allow Santa in his house. Maybe it's because he gives away things for free. I don't know. Scrooge has something against that. He's rich. It happens. Anyway. My next favorite part of this episode is Webigail's deal with the whole sledding thing. Now, it was a little bit weird at first. Just like, see, she sees this sled, and it's like she's just infatuated with it. And first of all, I'm curious where she got the money. Like, is she just carrying money around to buy that stuff? Because, like, as we find out, Louie is the one with Scrooge's credit card, apparently. But it didn't seem like Louie bought the sled. So maybe Webigail just has, or Webby just has her own money. That could be the case, but it just seemed a little bit strange. But regardless, the journey of her, like, being super excited to try sledding, and even just like that tiny little section of hill where it's just like, like, she found that to be, like, she found that fun. And then we go all the way through where she's just kind of like, now? How about now? How about now? But no, Dewey wants to get her to have the maximum sledding experience. And she definitely gets that at the end with the avalanche. And it was expected that she was going to say this, but it worked all the same. Just, so that's sledding. Meh. Like, she got the maximum sledding experience, and yet it didn't impress her. While, again, it's just like, you know, that little tiny sledding experience, whoop, was... like, she got more joy out of that, so... Yeah, I don't know. Webby's a hard character to pin down as far as what's going to impress her and what doesn't. But it was funny, all the same. It really was. My next favorite part was it's like Louie's all about this deal where it's like, okay, we're going to the top of Mount Neverrest. There's gonna be a treasure at the top, and as soon as he finds out there's not a treasure, Louie out. Louie's just done. Louie, he just goes off and gets a hot cocoa and he is done. And that was just so, it was such a great segment. It was just such a great moment. And also his line, kind of jumping back to what I was talking about where he scammed the scammer. Oh no, what was it that Louie said? Nobody pulls one over on my family but me, or was it nobody... I can't remember the exact quote he said, but it was... I just love the idea that Louie kind of has this ulterior motive in what he's doing. And then, of course, we get to this part where we see Bunny Rock, which it looked kind of disturbing when it was covered with snow, and then it's just this demonic rock face. And it's clearly revealed that, I mean, I was joking at first when I was saying it's like, you know, it's portals. I was thinking maybe it actually was some sort of hallucination being caused by the fact that they were so high up the mountain, and like that's what happened. But no, it actually ended up being portals. Like the creators of this episode were thinking with portals. And I apologize for saying that stuff so much in this video, but I really like the Portal games. I'm sorry. I really like them. I need to... I don't think I ever did a Let's Play of the second Portal game. I need to do that sometime. Anyway. But yeah, it's just like the cursed mountain. And honestly, the fact that the portals aren't explained. Like... We haven't seen her, but I'm assuming that Magica Dispel is in this show somewhere. Because, I mean, she was one of the big villains of the original series, and also the comics, I assume. So, the fact that, like there are supernatural things in this world. I mean, we're clearly shown that when the dragon, like when the gongs hit 3 times, the dragon appears, and I don't know why I'm talking as if I'm surprised that there's supernatural occurrences, because we're shown that clearly in the first episode. But I don't know, I guess I didn't consider portals being a legitimate thing in this DuckTales universe until now. But it does make total sense. So yeah, it's kind of cool. And I'll shut up about that now, because I already made myself sound like an idiot, more so than usual. Shut up, Necro. If my friend Necro is actually watching this. And then we find out the truth behind Mallardy. What was his name? George Mallardy or something like that. Basically, and the Neverrest Ninny. And that Scrooge was the Neverrest Ninny. And... this is not an annoyance, but it's just really weird logic in my mind that, like, Mallardy wasn't able to go further because of a bumbling young duck who got nicknamed the Neverrest Ninny, when in fact Mallardy just cut the tie, which let the quote-unquote Neverrest Ninny fall, and Mallardy just kept climbing up. So how did that rumor spread? From what I could tell, at least in the flashback, no one else was there. It was literally just Mallardy and Scrooge. And Mallardy didn't survive. He kept going and apparently died on the mountain after he let Scrooge go. Let him drop. So the only person who really could have spread that rumor was Scrooge himself, which doesn't make any sense. Now that I think about it, maybe this is an annoyance. It's just complete lack of logic there. And please, if I am misremembering something that was said or whatever, please let me know, because I'm legitimately confused at this point. Just trying to piece the logic of that together. Is it really just bad logic, or did I miss something? Please let me know. Okay, but moving on from there. So the rest of it really revolves around Huey trying to reel Scrooge in, and Scrooge just having this undying need to get to the top of the mountain, and at no matter what the cost. And I will say one thing. It's when Scrooge says, he was the duck that went the farthest. Not anymore. And the kids were just like, ah. And Scrooge has a point when he says, what? He was a backstabber. Which he was. So, no love lost there. But again, it revolves around Huey trying to reel Scrooge in. And it really leads to this adorable, sweet moment where Scrooge is, his goal is within sight. Literally just within sight, because the portals won't let him go any further. But it's because of what Huey says to him. It's one of the whatever junior woodchuck rule it was. It's sometimes the bravest thing you can do is to turn around or to. Okay, I'm not quoting it exactly, but basically the bravest thing a junior woodchuck can do is to give up. Something along those lines. Or know when to quit, I guess is a good way to put it. I don't know. ADD is fun. But it's at that moment that Scrooge comes to his senses, and obviously with very good timing, because the avalanche starts then. So, or wait, is it when he starts then, or does it start when he pulls the sled out? Yeah, I think it's when he pulls the sled out, because before that, the kids are just staring at him worriedly. So yeah, Scrooge was kind of responsible for that avalanche in the end. But he comes to his senses, and they all go down the mountain, and it's really cool. It's a really cool segment that's well done with all those different portals, and the demon bunny head coming along for the ride was cool and slightly disturbing. But yeah, overall, a fun episode. Unfortunately, I would say the true downside, not even an annoyance, but just kind of a downside to the episode is we're not really shown much growth on any of the characters, with the exception of maybe, except for Huey and Scrooge. And it might just be with these episodes, because they're shorter, that whenever we get character development, it'll probably only focus around one or two characters at a time, as opposed to, longer shows, which, oftentimes they focus on one or two characters anyway. But it's you gotta kind of take what you can get. So in the case of Huey, it's his goal was to get that cartographer's badge, and he had to give it up, sadly. Which, again, at the end, his map does end up on the top, and it says Huey was here. So I don't know, maybe there will be some sort of, not a retcon, but someone will find his map at the top of the mountain, and he will, as a result, end up getting his cartographer's badge. It's hard to say. But it's yeah, Huey grew in that way, and then Scrooge, it's with Scrooge, it's hard to tell sometimes if it's like character development or if it's just him constantly battling with his urge to be the best, be number one, be the richest, and reeling it in and keeping in mind, we need to keep the kids safe. We don't want the kids to die. And speaking of the kids not wanting them to die, where was Donald? I was sad that he wasn't there. I mean, he, I guess, wouldn't have really served much of a purpose in this episode. But overall, it's like, you know, after seeing the past 2 episodes, 1.5 if you count the... No, wait. 2.5 if you count, like, the first episode as 1.5. Anyway. After seeing him there for that much time, I was kind of thinking, oh my god, every episode is going to have Donald in it, which obviously isn't the case. So I was a little bit sad by that, but it's fine. It's perfectly fine. So yeah, DuckTales, or Discovering DuckTales number 3, covering Season 1, Episode 9, The Impossible Summit of Mount Neverrest. It was a fun one. It was a fun one. It wasn't one of the strongest ones in my opinion, just based on what I've watched so far. My opinion of it may change in time, but it was fun. And I enjoyed it in that much. So yeah. Let me know what you all thought about this episode. Whether, you know, you're wanting to mention parts about the episode itself you liked, or let me know if you agree or disagree with anything I've said. Do you think, especially when it comes to Launchpad, and like my issue with Launchpad, do you see him differently? Do you, like, I see him right now in the episodes I have seen him as just sort of this bumbling goof who really, again, other than flying them to places or being their transport, doesn't do much other than just being a side gag. So if you see it differently, let me know. Now, if you see him differently because of something that happens later in the series, obviously don't tell me what it is, because I want to see that development. I want to experience that development. But yeah, do let me know if you see that differently than I do. Even like just this early in the show. I'm legitimately curious. But I'm going to shut up now. Everyone, thank you so much for being here for this episode of Discovering DuckTales, the reboot. And, yeah, I'll leave it there, and I will see you all for the next episode. And I'm not even going to check what it is, because I'll find out when I look at the list next time. And I didn't write it down on this before I started recording. So, until next time, everyone, later days.